Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. And I'm very happy to welcome my first guest is Sister Safura. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
And of course, you're no stranger to the Heritage Centre. You're here twice a week.
Yes, alhamdulillah. We've been here at the Heritage Centre for many years now.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
So Sister Safura is an Al-Huda course facilitator, and she's studied the Quran and teaching the Quran for many years. And also, mashallah, she had the great opportunity to study directly under Dr. Farad Hashmi, who's the founder of Al-Huda.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about your experience there?
So I think at the end of year 11, I finished my GCSEs at that time, and we heard of Dr. Farad Hashmi's Institute of Al-Huda in Pakistan. Islamabad is where she first started from. So I had just completed my GCSEs, and I think that was in 1999. I went to Pakistan. Karachi was where she had moved to at that time for the first time, and I studied with her for 2 years. Alhamdulillah. Lived in a hostel away from family, but alhamdulillah, it was an amazing experience. New environment, because whenever we visited Pakistan, it was only like for a couple of weeks, and throughout my life I think I probably had only been twice. So it was a new experience, a new environment, new people, but alhamdulillah, it was good. And I think when you learn with a little bit of difficulty, you learn better. When there's less ease and you have to go through a little bit of strain, it makes it easier.
So the course, it was like throughout the week?
Yes, the course was 6 days a week. So 8 in the morning till 2, alhamdulillah.
So difficult for you.
It probably was a little challenging at the beginning, because the course was conducted in Urdu, and we had to listen to in Urdu and then come back to the hostel and do some combined studies and go through some of the words which we didn't understand, and then have the people from Pakistan who knew English to help us. But alhamdulillah, the 2 years that we spent doing that, I improved a lot in my Urdu as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I probably at the beginning, was it difficult for you writing and reading in Urdu?
No, because my father had taught me how to write and read Urdu at home as part of our weekend studies whilst we were here. So alhamdulillah, reading and writing wasn't difficult, but obviously I had done the basic Urdu. When there's such an educated person speaking, someone who's a PhD level,
yes.
their Urdu is much more advanced than what I had learned from the books. But alhamdulillah, it was a good experience. But I would say it would be harder for people who were not in the hostel, because that's what I was there for. I was living in a hostel which was part of Al-Huda's. So our timetable within Al-Huda hostel after the class was constructed in a way where it helped us learn, and the time was allocated for learning. But I think it would be more challenging for a person who has a family and children and other things to do at the same time.
Of course.
But that even in that matter, we had, mashallah, we were called the hostelites because we lived in the hostel. But then people who came from home with young children, elderly ladies, young mothers, students who were studying in the evenings at other places, but they came for the course. For them, it must have definitely been challenging.
So how many students were there? Any idea?
So I think it would have been roughly around 500 students when I joined the course, and that was the first time the course of Al-Huda was conducted and offered in Karachi.
It must be quite a huge complex.
It was a very big scale. Yes, it was.
In Karachi,
alhamdulillah. Yes, it was, alhamdulillah. And yeah, so like I said, the challenges must have been for those who were living at home and had to come out of their homes 6 days a week, 8 till 2 in the afternoon, 1:30 just before the time. So and then for them to have a chunk of lesson to learn for the next day, it must have been challenging.
No, I mean, especially for you, I mean, to leave your home, leave your family and travel to Pakistan and just stay there full time. it's incredible achievement, mashallah. It's
Alhamdulillah. And I strongly believe that when you step out of your home, obviously at that time I was quite young to understand these concepts, that I'm going out in the way of Allah and I'm learning His book. It was something which my parents had chosen for me to do. So I think I didn't leave my house with that intention. But as time went on and as time has gone on, I have understood that when a person takes their steps towards Allah, towards His deen, to understand His deen, then Allah facilitates you with a lot of ease, with a lot of barakah. Those things which you think will be a struggle, Allah makes them easy for you to get through and to handle and deal with.
How do you think this is sort of your experience has sort of shaped your life, especially in terms of Islam and your relationship with the Quran?
Alhamdulillah, it's an ongoing process. And there's always ups and downs. Sometimes you're dragged back and sometimes you move forward. But Alhamdulillah, I think the experience which I had, where I left home at a young age for a few years, and I learned a lot. You gain confidence. You develop of course you grow within yourself, your nature, your in your deen, in your bonding with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the book. But at the same time, I think relationships and other matters in life are also improved. And
mashallah, incredible. And of course, Dr. Hashmi, she has grown Al Huda. When did it actually, do you know when she started Al Huda? It was in the 90s?
I think it's been a very long time, because when I went to Pakistan at that time, her 5th batch had just finished.
Oh, I see.
So 5th batch means
10 years.
No, that in Pakistan, the course, I think you're talking from the experience of the course that we offer here. Here our courses are longer because we do them over 2 days a week, 3.5 hours a day. So it's not the same as this. So the same course which is offered in Pakistan, which finishes in a year, we finish it over 3.5 years, because less time. It's even less than part-time then, isn't it? So in Pakistan, I think one course finishes in like 1 year or something, because it's full-fledged courses and takes 6 days a week.
Mid-80s maybe she started.
Probably.
And she's actually taken this not only across Pakistan, but across the world.
Yes, mashallah. Herself and then her students too, because people would come like just the way we went. When I went to study in Pakistan, there were other sisters who had come from Australia, Canada, Germany, France. So mashallah, people knew her worldwide then, and now 18 years later, I'm sure it's expanded more and more people have come to know.
Mashallah, amazing.
So when they go back, they take it with them, and they offer the same, and that's part of our
yes, of course, that's the main thing. I mean,
whatever you learn, you convey to others and help others. And because when you're helping and conveying to others, then it's kind of a support structure for yourself. Because I feel like if I came back and left it to what I had learned, then maybe I would have forgotten it or moved away from it slowly. But because it kept going, it kind of formed a environment around me. It kind of really helped me stay steadfast as well on what I had learned.
And how, for those listeners who don't know about the Al Huda classes, how would you describe the class? Like it includes the translation word for word, and the tafsir, which means like the detailed explanation, and I suppose also tajweed and how to read the Quran. I mean, so overall it's like a holistic approach to the Quran, really, isn't it?
Yes. So the course that we offer here, like you just mentioned now, we do the word for word translation and the tafsir along with the tajweed as well, and our main focus is the translation and the tafsir. Translation, so that our students, by the time they reach the end of the course, they are able to open any mushaf of the Quran and recite the verses and know what they mean. Then the tafsir of the verses, it's not just like an academic course where when it was revealed, why it was revealed, what time it was, and who it was meant for. It's more practical. When we study those verses, how do we apply them in our life? How do we benefit from them? How do we take them along?
And that's the main thing, really.
And that's the most important thing. It's building up your own character, you're building up your own personality, building a relationship with Allah, strengthening that relationship with Allah, and then with His people. So as young mothers or grandparents or whatever status that you have, as a woman, whether you're a mother, whether you're a wife, a daughter, a daughter-in-law, whichever relation that you have to deliver. Inshallah, we hope, and I have learned over time, that learning the Quran and discussing those verses, and it helps you develop on those characteristics.
MashaAllah, really amazing. So we're going to continue talking to Sister Safura just after some adverts. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. My special guest this afternoon is Sister Safura, who is a facilitator at Al Huda Quran course. Is Talimul Quran, understanding Quran? Yes?
Yes, that's right. You've given it a new name this year, Ilmul Quran.
Ilmul Quran. That's very nice. So it's knowledge of the Quran and learning. It's like a holistic approach, and you learn a lot of different aspects of the Quran, not only how to read it correctly, to try and understand the translation, and also how to implement it in your life as well. So Sister Safura, I wanted to ask you that when Dr. Farad Hashmi, when she started this organization, she did this especially for women. Why do you think it's important, especially for women? Because you know, I think traditionally it's been difficult for women, especially with young children, to go and study further, kind of thing. So if you could just say that, why especially women, and what kind of obstacles do women face, and how you can help them, how you can achieve that.
So of course every individual has different sets of responsibilities and so forth, so each one will have to probably recognize their own hurdles that they come across. But like you mentioned about women, why is it important for them? Equally, men and women both need to learn the Quran, but women more, because one, I strongly feel, because as being mothers, because we are going to have children, we're going to bring up our children. So if the mother or a woman has the basic understanding of her deen and she's implementing it and she's following it, then inshallah bringing up your children would become, I wouldn't say less challenging, but maybe inshallah Allah will give you the strength and the wisdom and an idea of how to tackle those issues that everybody goes through. And like I mentioned before as well, a woman has many relationships. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a daughter, she's many others, and having the understanding of your deen allows you, and having the understanding of the deen and allowing it to enter your heart, because when something enters your heart, that's when it transfers into your speech and your actions and your words and your emotions and everything. So inshallah, I guess when you have that understanding of your deen, you'll be able to handle these relationships better, maintain them better.
Yeah, and also I suppose that a lot of women, especially young mothers, they do hesitate when their children start asking questions.
Yes, of course.
Because they don't have the knowledge.
Yes, and we need to be equipped.
Absolutely.
Ourselves. And subhanallah, children today's time, you can't say, they can't say to you why, and you say because I said so. They need to have the answers, and as a mother you need to know the answers, and those answers won't come just by reading a book, by just going through the Quran at home, because I have many students, mashallah, who have done the course, and then when they first came or when they were introduced to the course, they said, oh well, I've read this, I've studied, I've read the translation of the Quran. And now when they go through those verses, they say that translation meant nothing to us because it was not understood. Because when you're studying the Quran, we discuss the issues of today's time, and answers are given and solutions are presented. And of course, every issue doesn't have the same solution, but it does develop you in your knowledge and understanding and wisdom. And inshallah, hopefully you'll be able to tackle those issues better. Not that you wouldn't face them, we all do, but inshallah hopefully you'll be able to tackle them better. And when you're in that kind of environment, you get that support from one another too, people alike, the people who think alike, who are on the same journey as you. Inshallah, you'll find that you'll get support from them. And
mashallah, I think a good point that you raise a, it's like women do have obstacles,
Yes.
especially in studying and everything. But one thing, especially here in the Heritage Centre, I think everywhere, you offer not only on-site weekday classes,
Yes.
but also weekend classes as well,
Yes.
online.
Yes.
So you try to accommodate everyone, so working
Yeah,
women.
alhamdulillah. Yes. Previous to this, we would do a weekend course on site. But alhamdulillah, this is when the lockdown happened.
Yes.
It was during that time was the first time we actually went online, and alhamdulillah, we had a very good feedback from people, and we had a lot of students join internationally as well, not just from the UK, and nationally, like outside Manchester. So alhamdulillah, we were able to facilitate more people. And yes, definitely people who were not able to attend due to their health issues or due to home commitments or children, having young children at home, multiple young children, then they were able to join online. But even on site, when students come or they contact us and they want to join the course, one of their issues is young children, and we asked them, we said, if you want to bring them along with you and keep them settled, just listen in. And the course is not just about, because as you know, the course that we offer, there are tests and assignments that they have to do, and those are not to test students academically. It's just a tool of learning. It supports your learning because it kind of pushes you to work on learning.
And also you can assess your own self-progress.
Yes, of course. You see how much you're learning, and definitely what you just mentioned now.
Yes. And of course, being people of the book, Al Quran, is so much reward. And
so much honor.
And even, so I have in here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, indeed, this Quran guides to that which is most suitable and gives good tidings to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they will have a great reward. And subhanallah, if someone doesn't know, you've got all this guidance in the Quran, and if we are not accessing it, I'm saying the wrong word now, then we miss out so much.
Definitely we miss out. And subhanallah, the time that we're living in today, as many trials and difficulties there are for us to face, at the same time there are so many facilities as well.
Absolutely.
When we were much younger, like many years ago, when I first started studying the Quran, I feel there wasn't that many facilities around. There was mosques where children were sent to learn the Quran and Islamic studies, but this nourishment that was coming, the tarbiyah that's coming from all these amazing sheikhs and institutes that we have in today's time, it did not exist before. So these are amazing facilities which we have, and we must make use of them, because when an opportunity comes to us, it's a mercy of Allah. It's Allah's blessing, and when we turn our backs to it, then we should be we should know that it was a blessing which we turned our back to.
Subhanallah. Yeah, definitely. If you have the opportunity, you should try to avail it the best you can.
Definitely.
I mean, you were talking about when you were young. When I was young, there was actually nothing around.
Of course.
There was nothing. And my mother, mashallah, she taught us the Quran through lots of tears and cries and everything.
Of course.
But she could only teach how much she knew.
She knew, definitely.
And of course, she, mashallah, may Allah keep her well, she knows like the stories from the Quran, and she told us, but nothing too deep. And it's over the years, alhamdulillah, things have got easier.
Definitely.
And it's not just the internet, not just online, but you have seminars going on and talks, and there is so much
different
information.
modes of learning. Definitely.
Yes.
If you can't learn in a classroom setup, then there's charity dinners where there'll be a small talk, and if not attending a class, then there's books and internet. There's so many facilities, subhanallah, and we need to make good use of them.
Yes.
And use them, inshallah.
So I wanted to ask you that, when did you decide to become a facilitator yourself? When did you start actually teaching?
So like I've mentioned to you before, I don't really directly teach myself. We have the lessons drawn out by Al Huda Institute themselves, and their recordings which we play, and then we pause and then we discuss and everything. But alhamdulillah, I think it was in 2008, since when I had my second child, is when I first started teaching and providing this course to the students. And alhamdulillah, in our first batch we only had a handful of people, like 10 students, and then from the next course it grew bigger and bigger, and alhamdulillah now we have many students. But I think one of the things which really pushed me to come out of my home and my comfort zone, which I would say was my comfort zone, at the same time it was something which I felt I was getting tangled up in, like my housework and children, and I wanted to and I always remembered one thing my teacher used to say, Ustad Zafarat Hashmi. She said that when she first started teaching, what made her want to step out and step up from besides what she was doing for her children was that she said, I thought that if I take care of others' children, Allah will take care of my children. And subhanallah, yes, I have known Ustadza since 1999, and her children was similar age to me. So when I did the course, her eldest daughter did the course with me, and then her other children as well. I've seen them grow up, mashallah, and I've seen them progress in deen, and I've seen how Allah's taken care of them. So I just hope that inshallah, if I was to be able to facilitate for for parents and provide something for their children, a platform for them, then inshallah Allah will take care of my children too. Inshallah, and at the same time, when my kids see me, going to a class, preparing for a class, I bring them with me. I leave them for my class. Then I hope with Allah, and inshallah, Allah will, take care of them in ways which probably I will never have been able to take care of myself. Inshallah. Because sometimes we think, me being there, me doing this myself is the best way, taking control of things yourself. But over the years, because like I said, it's been 13 to 14 years since we've been teaching, and I have seen in many different ways how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has supported me and my children and my family, alhamdulillah. And this is another thing which I hear from a lot of people when it comes to doing the course or come out to study. It's like my children are young, and I have seen examples of like Farid Hashmi and then her daughters, and then myself and many other people who take their children along with them and on this journey. And inshallah, I know Allah gets you through it. There are difficulties, but the difficulty comes ease, reward.
Inshallah, yes.
Inshallah.
I mean, this is what we believe. And I think your role as a facilitator, I know there are a few other sisters doing this role as well. I think it's really, really important, because it's almost, it's sort of, forgot what the word is, because we hear the recording and then you help us to explain the ayahs better, and also to motivate us to reflect. I think it's so important. Yes. Because if it wasn't for this personal touch, it would be quite difficult.
Yes, of course. You could sit at home and listen to the recordings as well.
It's more interactive. That's the word I'm thinking of.
Yes, because then you're able to speak your mind and how it's affected you, and sometimes maybe it's not affected you in a way which another sister would say that this is how it's made me think, and it kind of helps you develop on that and reflect. And reflecting is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us in the Quran. He says, afala tadabbarun, afala tatafakkarun, afala taqilun. Are you not going to reflect? Are you not going to use your mind? And this is what we do during our class. We reflect, and reflecting is ibadah. It brings you closer to Allah.
The thing that really attracted me to this course was the fact that you go from throughout the whole Quran.
Yes.
From Surah Fatiha all the way to Surah Nas.
Yes.
And I think that's important, because of course in other courses and seminars and talks and even books, myself personally, I've sort of delved in one place, in one chapter, one ayah like this, but actually to go from cover to cover, I think this is something that I was yearning for, because it's like like what I'm saying, it's like a holistic approach. And while we're on the subject, there's a hadith which is very, very famous and very well known, mashallah, about the virtue of learning and teaching the Quran. And that is Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it.
Definitely.
Mashallah. So I would strongly advise everyone, especially, with Ramadan coming up. This is the best opportunity to become better acquainted with the Quran. And whatever you are able to do, if you are able to listen to something online, or even have like an informal halaqah with some other sisters, or attend classes or talks, whatever you can do to build that relationship with the Quran. And I think that's amazing. And we're just going to take a short advert break, and we'll be just back. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. And we're talking to Sister Safura from Al Huda organization, and mashallah, Al Huda classes are happening here at the Heritage Centre, as well as, I suppose, places nationally and internationally,
Yes,
mashallah.
right.
And the course itself is about 3.5 years long.
Yes,
If
that's
you
right.
And that might be difficult for some women. I mean, maybe they would be a bit reluctant to embark on something which would take that long. What would you say to them?
Yes, definitely. That is one thing, or one question that we are asked at the beginning of the course, that what is the length of the course, and when they hear 3.5 years, it does frighten them a bit, especially for some people who are at college or university, or heading to get married or moving away. So the thing is, we couldn't do it in any shorter time, because there's no having that longer commitment from people 6 days a week or 5 days a week was difficult. But studying the Quran over time, I think, is also very beneficial, because if you think about it, when the Quran was revealed, it was revealed over 23 years.
Yes.
And it slowly entered the hearts of the people, and
Yes.
who it was being revealed to, who it was being sent to. So and I feel over the years things change, it affects you differently. We've had students who joined one course but was not able to complete the course due to maybe a university or work or having children or getting married, and even we had, subhanAllah, some sisters who had health issues and they had to drop out. But our course is, doors are always open to everyone. So we've had people who have joined over and over again in the progress of trying to catch up on what they missed out on. But myself, I feel like the longer something takes, the effects are different. Like myself, when I first time studied the Quran, I was 16. And then the next time I did the course, when we started teaching, facilitating the course over here in 2009, then we did, after that we've done 4 courses, and over and each course is 3.5 years. So from the age from being 16 till 35, 36, it's I feel each time when I've done the course, it's affected me differently, because I've been in a different phase of life. So when I was young, I was 16, 17, my way of thinking, my way of life was different at that time. And then when I did it for the second time, I had younger children, then as one child or two, and then as I went on to the next course, the children had grown, other things had happened in life. So my way of thinking and life, it had progressed, so it affected me differently. Now when I do it, I have young teenagers, parents have grown old, other things have happened in life, and now when I listen to those verses, they affect me very deeply and differently. So I feel the stretch of time over the course, I think personally for myself, has been very beneficial. And when I speak to our students, they have something very similar to say too. So when they had done, like just a couple of weeks ago, I went over to a desk where one of my students was sitting, and she said, "Oh, this was when I did the first time," and then she turned on her page, said, "This is when I did it second time, and now third time." And I saw progress, there was a lot of progress in her notes.
Yeah, mashallah, there's quite a few students that either they didn't finish before, or even if they finish, they want to repeat the course.
And then they say that now when they hear it, they feel the verse is different from what they had felt initially. So seeking knowledge is an ongoing journey. There's no age limit, there's no time limit, there's no, of course people do want to finish something academically or however and move on to something else. But then for that we say, if you can't be in our class, then listen outside class. That we have students who initially started with us, but then they started doing it on their own at home in their own time, and they finished quicker than the other students because we provide them with the recordings and the lesson plan, and we take their tests earlier. So
much that there's lots of different ways to do it.
Our effort is only this much. When somebody walks through the doors to ask us that they want to study the Quran, I take it as if it's my responsibility, or it's a responsibility upon me that I facilitate them, or we all do as much as we can, that they're able to get what they're there for, inshallah. And like I was saying, seeking knowledge is such a blessing, such a great ni'mah of Allah. It says, there's a hadith as well, a person who treads on the path of knowledge is on the path to Jannah. The person who steps out of their home to go to learn, and the angels lay out their wings in honor for them. Any dust that touches you during that journey, the fire of hell will not touch. So these are all motivators for us, isn't it, to remain on that path. And the longer it takes, alhamdulillah, the more reward. The harder it is, the more reward.
We've
had students who say it's very challenging, it's very difficult, and they want to drop out. And I tell them that when Allah opened this opportunity to you, when He opened the Quran, did He not know how able you were?
Yes.
So if you are able, alhamdulillah. If it's difficult for you, the more difficulty, the more reward. And all these ahadiths that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us is all to motivate us and allow us and help us to.
Absolutely. There's one hadith which I always remember, and I really like this one, and it's Buraidah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever reads the Quran, learns from it and acts upon it, will have his parents crowned with the crown of light. Its light will be like the light of the sun. His parents will also be gowned with 2 garments that are more valuable than the dunya, and they will say, why were we clothed with this? And it will be said, due to your son taking the Quran, of course, son or daughter. And this is so amazing. I always think that we can never repay our parents, and if we tried our best to learn the Quran and also to implement it, how beautiful is that?
The recompense and the honor, and not only in the hereafter, in the dunya too.
Yes, definitely.
So you benefit in the world and in the hereafter.
Yes, and also another thing that you just touched on before, that you become such a good role model for your children.
Hopefully,
inshallah. And how things have changed. It's like when I was young, I told you that we didn't have any facilities around us. This was in North London, and there was only one main mosque in Regent's Park we used to go to for Eid, or otherwise in East London. We don't really go there. And at home we had one Quran, a copy of Quran, one Musaf that we used to read from, and that was my mother's. And we had to take in turns to reading it or learning it, everything. And look how things change, and I think this one thing that's made a huge difference is that we all, in my family, we all have our own copy of the Quran. It's such a beautiful thing, because it's like, this is my personal copy of the Quran.
Definitely.
And it is something that you
feel
treasure. It
becomes more valuable. And definitely, and over the last few years, I have noticed how much people have started learning the tajweed, which is definitely a very beautiful thing, and very rewarding when you're able to recite it the way it should be recited. And it's also followed upon us as an obligation that we learn the Quran, how to recite it correctly. But I always tell my students, I say, learning the tajweed is very important, but you will only truly enjoy the recitation of the Quran when you know what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you hear the reciter recite the Quran in Taraweeh, like an imam, and he cries on certain verses, and your children ask you, why is he crying? Or you're able to answer the question because you've understood those verses. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the understanding is not just the literal understanding, we understand it from our hearts, because only then it takes effect. But knowing the word for word translation of the Quran is just as important, or I should say even more important, and then focusing so deeply onto the recitation, because you truly can't enjoy the recitation until you know. And you were talking about the personal copy of the Quran. You feel over the years, when I look at my mushaf at home, and I think there was a time when it used to look like a book. like a copy of a book which we were taught. Now when I look at it, I feel like it speaks out. I feel that it's alive. It has life, which of course it does, but I didn't see before, which I do now over the last few years. You feel an attraction, a bonding, a relationship, and then of course it goes more than that, because then the bonding and the relationship goes to Allah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our people who are around us. Learning the Quran, it helps you recognize your creator, and then along with the creator, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I felt that over time when I've studied the Quran, my love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has increased more because of the ahadith and how much I learned. Because when we teach the Quran, we learn a lot of the seerah of the Prophet, because you can't not understand the Quran without the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You cannot understand the Quran without the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or certain incidents that took place in his life or in his time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you learn the Quran, you just don't learn the verses of the Quran, you learn so much more.
Yes, of course. And I like the point that we actually look at the root letters of the verbs, because that really helps. Like if we learn that qawala is the root words for to speak, or he speaks, and then you can recognize them in different words, and that really helps with the understanding. And I like the way that that's done. Yes. So there is there's another hadith that I like a lot, and also very well known, and it's Abdullah ibn Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever recites a letter from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be rewarded with a good deed, and a good deed gets a 10-fold reward. I do not say that Alif Lam Mim is one letter, but Alif is a letter, Lam is a letter, and Mim is a letter. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. How much reward. Amazing. So
and for a person who it's difficult to recite, they get multiple reward.
Yes.
So if something is challenging for you, then take that as a blessing too, because it's helping you generate more reward. Depending on your intention and effort that you put in, inshallah Allah will reward you accordingly as well.
And I just wanted to add that maybe there's someone listening in and they will think that maybe I'm too old now to learn the Quran, or it's too difficult for me, I won't be able to do this, and or maybe they're too embarrassed even to say, or even to ask for help. But believe me, you're never too old.
Definitely. And haya, being shy, is khair. The Prophet ﷺ said that haya has only khair in it.
Yes.
But when a person shows haya in matter of knowledge, then it becomes a means of destruction. So when if you don't know, then there's nothing to be shy about, because coming out to learn and to improve and better yourself is something which it's appreciated not only by us, but inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too, and it's rewarded, and there's more reward. And subhanallah, when I first time went to Karachi to learn, this was a shock of my life too. So with me there were students who were 70. There was an auntie who did the course for 76. I remember her telling me at that time. She used to come with a walking stick, and not just one, there were so many of them, because they had never seen something like this before in Karachi, being offered to women only, especially, and in that kind of environment that we learnt in. And mashallah, they learn. And I've seen women who have gone through the Quran. And have we not heard, like on YouTube videos, you see mashallah old ladies 80 and who's doing the hifz of the Quran. We say that
puts me to shame. I know.
I say at this age that my memory is not good enough to do hifz. But when you look at women who are the age of 80 and they're able to do it, you understand that it's not just because of their own self. One, it was their own willpower, like their wanting and their desire, and secondly, it's the miracle of the Quran. It's the miracle of Allah. This book is no ordinary book, so when a child who is 7 does the hifz of this book, how is it possible? Have you ever heard of a child who's learned like Shakespeare's book by heart. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yes.
But the Quran, Allah makes it able. Allows it to happen because it's His book and the barakah that He puts
definitely
in it.
we just need to have the intention.
We just need to have the intention, and the reward begins from the time we make our intention.
Inshallah.
That's the mercy of Allah. We make the intention, Allah's reward starts. And then there's the effort as well that's required. It's not only the intention. We need to follow up with effort.
Inshallah. So we're going to take a short break, and we will be just... Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the show. MashaAllah, we have Sister Safura from Al Huda, and it's amazing what she's been talking about, and the great rewards about learning the Quran and trying to improve your relationship with the Quran. And what I want to focus on now is really children. How can we get our children to love the Quran more? Because they can be reading other books and they be really involved with them. So why do you find it difficult sometimes to read the Quran?
So over time, with my own children first, obviously my first hand experience has been my own children, the nephews and nieces. I've seen for them to read, so they know how to recite the Quran, but for them to pick up the copy of the Quran and recite it out with joy, I don't see that a lot. I have had to really work on that myself with them, and I see the reason behind that is because they don't know what they're reading. So if you were to pick up a book which was in German or with a language which you did not understand, and you were making sounds, it would be just sounds that you're making. You will not be able to understand. And it's the same thing with the Quran. Our children do not understand what those words mean. So what I do with my children is it's like, for example, you're mentioning a book. So many times I have to get the book out of my child's hand and say, tie your shoelaces, we're getting late for school, but they don't want to put the book down because they're so engrossed in it.
Yes.
But with the Quran, subhanallah, not just mine, I'm sure many families deal with that, many parents deal with that, where they just do it because to tick off that I've done my daily recitation or I've done my Quran. And I really wanted my children to have, and I want my children to have that love for the Quran. So I feel they need to understand that this book has a meaning. There's words in here. So sometimes, like just yesterday, I experienced that one of them were not reciting properly. Like in her recitation, she was like showing frustration. So the ayahs that she was doing was about on the day of judgment, when the book of deeds will be given in your left hand and the book of deeds will be given in the right hand, and what the people will do. So I stopped the recitation. I said, you know what these verses are saying? It's talking about the person on the day of judgment, that how the book, when the book of deed will be given in the left hand, they'll put it behind their backs. Why do you think they'll put it behind? And I started talking to her, and she said because they feel embarrassed. I said yes, because they wouldn't want to show anyone. What about you? Think about it. When you get good results at school, 10 out of 10 in your spelling, you want to show it to your brother in the car, you want to show it to me straight away. But when you don't get good marks, you just put it away in your bag. So I kind of related that, and then I said, so what do you want in your book of deeds? Do you not want lots of good deeds so you can show on the day of judgment too? So we spoke about that, then we stopped talking, and then we went back to the recitation, and I found that there was more
heart in it.
More heart in it, and that whinging and everything was finished. So, and I've been doing that over time. So when I'm doing recitation and I pick up on a story or something that I can talk to them about, I say, stop, this is what the verses are saying, and we cannot do that if the mother, if the parents, the father does not know the meaning themselves. So also I've started doing word for word translation with the elder ones as well. So we do like 3-4 ayahs or more every weekend, and when they've done one juz, they'll pick up on the wa and the min and the kum and the qawl and the qal, there's certain basic small words, home, kum, they'll recognize them, inshallah. And so many verses are repeated over and over again.
That's true. So many words are repeated again.
And it's not the responsibility of our mosque teachers, it's not the responsibility of the Islamic schools that we send our children to. It's our responsibility as a mother, or as an elder sister, or as a grandma, as whoever we
definitely
that we feed the love of the Quran in the hearts of our children, and we can only do that if we have it in our hearts.
MashaAllah. It's been a privilege speaking with you today, Sister Safura. If any listeners want to find out more about the courses available, then please contact the Heritage Centre, or if you go on the website, I think everything is mentioned there in the website. and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all people of the Quran.
Ameen.
And accept it from us. Ameen. Ameen.
Preserve the reward in the hereafter for us, inshallah.
Ameen. Do you want to say a short dua? No. May Allah bless you for coming, and inshallah, hope to see you again soon.
Jazakumullah khair for having me in.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. And to remind the listeners, we'll be back after the news with another guest, so please keep tuned. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back. There's a bit of a frog in my throat just then, and mashallah, I hope you enjoyed my first guest today. That was Sister Safura, a facilitator for Al Huda, and mashallah is an amazing, because I am a student myself at Al Huda, and it's very, very beneficial. And if you want to find out more about it, then please contact the Heritage Centre, and I'm sure you'll find them more than welcome. And now, mashallah, I have my second guest, who is Brother Amir Arshad. That's correct?
That's correct, yes. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. And mine, we've got very similar names now, haven't we?
We have, yes.
Amir and Amira.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've heard that you used to be on the radio as well?
I did. I've done some volunteering on the radio. I've run the desk where you're sitting right now.
I tell people, before I used to say, people say, what do you do? I used to be like, maybe a job I did, or mum of three, this. And I say, I'm a radio presenter.
That's it. We've hit the big time. It's show time.
Exactly. So who is my guest? He is the fundraising officer and volunteer recruitment,
yes.
Recruitment for Human Relief Foundation. And apart from that, mashallah, you've done so much that I have to check the list for this, or maybe you can mention it yourself.
Yeah, if you want to go through it first, and then I'll add my little bit.
I think that will be just fine. And so, mashallah, you have been a volunteer for a very long time, very well known in the community, and you became a dedicated volunteer in 2015, and you worked extensively with British Muslim Heritage Centre, including Heritage Radio. So I have to ask you, what was your show about?
My show was it was Ramadan mainly.
Okay.
So I did like some of the Ramadan shows, interview guests.
Okay.
So it was good fun.
Yeah, I love interviewing guests. I think that's the best thing, and you get to meet so many different people in the community, and it's very inspiring.
Absolutely. And now I've seen, like, because I listen to Heritage Radio as well. You guys have, it's grown.
It definitely has
from the time when I was here.
Yes, and now they've got plans for Spotify and YouTube channels and podcasts. There's a lot. Even TV, maybe even TV coming in.
Possibly.
So,
well, I do see a TV station next door, so.
And so you have volunteered in so many different organisations, and among them you've got the Manchester Muslim Burial Trust, which I will be asking you about, the Muslim Council of Britain, MacFest, which is the Muslim Arts and Culture Festival, of course Human Relief Foundation, Reed Foundation, and we had 2 people from Reed Foundation a few weeks ago, and Children of Adam Appeal. And also you've listed a few skills that you've acquired doing volunteering, and this is quite amazing, because I think a lot of times people say, if you've got a 9-to-5 job or even a business, you gain skills, but not many people think that how much you gain just by being a volunteer. Can you sort of, what do you say?
I've been a volunteer for so long now. And when I came into it, I came to learn. Like volunteering, a lot of people said to me, why do you volunteer so much? Go and get a job. I said, I've got a job, but volunteering is my passion.
Yes.
And also I did it to learn about the charity sector as well, because in order to learn about the charity sector, you need to volunteer for all the different organizations. So if you just want to mention all the skills that I've put down, because I think I wrote that at 2 a.m. in the morning.
So you've mentioned skills I acquired doing volunteering. events planning and management, fundraising, networking, funeral direction, volunteer recruitment, and team management. Mashallah, that's really a lot that you've learnt.
This is something that, you learn from work as well. Like even in volunteering can give you so many skills. Now, one of the things that I want to bring to the Muslim volunteering sector, mainly the British Muslim Heritage Centre, is how to retain volunteers, how to train volunteers. So inshallah, I will be working on projects like that with the British Muslim Heritage Centre.
Mashallah. And just to plug a little plug there, my son, who's very much involved at the Heritage Centre, he said, please, if anyone wants to become a volunteer at the Heritage Centre, you can just visit the website, and that of course is bmhc.org.uk/become a volunteer. So please, anytime you have, especially during Ramadan, when your deeds are multiplied many folds, it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
And it's only a little bit time. You don't need maybe just even 1 hour spare or something, isn't it?
Most of the time everybody's like stuck on social media.
Yeah.
So here, if you take a bit of your time and actually just come to the centre. There's always something going on here all the time. Volunteer, and inshallah I will be promoting this as well. You'll be seeing leaflets in masjids and posters. I'm really going to go for it.
Oh, definitely. And how it's rewarded so much, and also you feel so good about
Absolutely.
being volunteer yourself,
because you're not only helping other people as well. So I do a lot of food banks as well. So I'm in touch with a lot of food banks.
Which ones in particular?
I've got the bread and butter thing. Have you heard of that?
No.
Right.
Where is that?
I will be bringing you some guests about the bread and butter. Let's do a proper show on that, because the project is amazing.
I love bread and butter itself.
That's right. I'll give you an example of what bread and butter does. So they send you sign up to it, email.
Yes.
They send you a text on a Sunday. On Tuesday you go and pick up the food. So in Manchester they've got 27 hubs.
Okay.
So they give you 35 to 40 pounds worth of food for $7.50. The food is actually free. You're paying $7.50 to keep the service running.
Oh, mashallah.
So this is a huge project. I'm working with them, inshallah. So now we've got.
Where is this based?
So it's based in Manchester. One of the hubs is Alexandra Park.
Yes.
So that's one of the hubs. So this big 3.5 Sprinter van comes. It's got food in it. They've got tons of volunteers. So maybe we can do something like that here.
That would be brilliant.
That would be great.
I was just saying, my son dropped me earlier on, and I was saying, just look at these grounds. There's so much they can do.
But what it is, the grounds are there. The grounds need people to come in and do projects, do activities. Without the people, this building, it wouldn't function.
Yeah, no, mashallah. I mean, really, there is still a lot happening
absolutely,
here.
Absolutely.
A lot, not just classes. You've got radio, you've got events.
Absolutely.
Conferences. And basically, I'm sort of here nearly every day.
Very good. No, so what that means is, what I mean by people is people planning the events, people putting time into organisation, because that takes a lot of effort. It doesn't happen by itself.
Yes.
So we need as many volunteers and people to come to the centre and get involved with all the projects here.
Yes, yeah, and of course it's a voluntary role, but you know what you gain is amazing.
From voluntary, and I've spoken to a lot of volunteers. From just doing voluntary, they've got on and got really good jobs because the skills that they've acquired. Because say if you're at university, what do they ask for? They ask you for what experience do you have. So if when you were at university that time, if you even did a little bit of volunteering, everything's going to go into your CV. So it's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit the community. It's like a cycle. Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite word is recycle. We'll talk about that on another show, right?
So can I ask you first, I think this is one of your first volunteering roles, was with the Manchester Burial
Muslim Burial Trust.
Muslim Burial Trust, yes.
So that kind of started, somebody sent me a text, somebody that I was like teaching, they sent me a text and I passed that text on to this national group that I've got. Somebody from that group rang me. He was from York, he rang me and he said, can you find out who these people are? I want to help them, because he's in the charity sector as well. So I got in touch with them, and it happened that I knew who these people were. I went to them and we sat down, and I said, you know what, I'm going to help you as well. So that's when I first became a volunteer. Now, initially when we started that, it was, you know, just driving the van and like just transporting the body. That was the whole, like, that's all we were supposed to do. But what ended up was we started becoming like funeral directors. We started dealing with the hospitals, the mortuaries, the coroners, and a lot goes into it. Now, what we found was, you know, when somebody passes away, if you don't have like a family connection, or you don't have a connection to the masjid, nobody knows what to do. You know, even the ghusl rituals, and we found that this is an issue here. So that's when we started becoming more involved. We've recruited more volunteers, and we've got a team of like 5, 6 or 7 dedicated. Even during coronavirus, they were there.
Mashallah,
so now, like, over the years, what's happened is we've managed to get all the masjids together. Everybody knows MMBT now. We've done like janazas, funerals at the Heritage Centre as well. So now we're a very well established organisation. We've taken it further as well. I'm also a member of the National Burial Council.
Okay.
So I like to do things on a national level now, because I've got the opportunity. So there we're like coordinating, especially during COVID. There was a lot of things that we had to do. We set up like all in throughout Manchester. We had 3 COVID centres. So we got all the masjids together, and we said, right, you guys do non-COVID and you guys do COVID.
Burials.
COVID burials, yeah. Because over there you have to do all the prep. You know, like there was a lot that went into it. It wasn't just like a normal burial. People weren't allowed to attend. We had to kind of like do everything. So it was a very like testing time, but mashallah, our volunteers did it.
Yes, and I suppose it gives some reassurance to the family members, because at that time they couldn't attend the funerals.
See, what I've took from that is, I'm not just a volunteer who's driving the van and, you know, doing the burial and dealing with all the rest of it that comes. You have to console the family as well. And I've even done babies. Right, I won't go into too much detail in that, but yeah, it's like harrowing basically. And you have to like be strong and console the family, because the mom's there crying, the dad's there crying, and you have to like give them like, you know, have sabr, everything, you know, this child is going to take you by the hand to Jannah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
So we're like counsellors as well. I think I probably need a little bit of counselling as well, but
because I remember I attended an event, I think it was about 4 years ago, probably one of the first, when I moved to Manchester, because I'm originally from London, and it was one scholar, which I can't remember who, he was talking about the janazah and everything, and he gave a demonstration. And I remember it was the Muslim Burial Fund there, Trust there, and also was it Eden Trust?
Eden Trust as well, yes, we work with them as well.
Yes, that was the first time I'd heard about that.
So these are national organisations now, we're on the map, and this is not only happening in Manchester, this is happening in every like town and city. There's burial volunteers that come and do everything. They've been doing it for years. Like how we started off was with an association called BCOM, Bolton Council of Mosques.
Okay.
They were in charge of Manchester, and then we came along and we said, you know, we'll deal with Manchester, but we work with them very heavily. They help us set up any problems that we have. We go to them. If they've got funerals that they need help with, we come and help them as well. I've done funerals in Bolton as well. So mashallah, we all work together, and it's a sadaqah jariyah for the community, because this is like a farz, they call it a farz kifaya.
Yes.
That, you know, if somebody in your community needs to be buried,
they need to know this knowledge.
Absolutely, somebody has to do it. We've even had cases where like somebody was about to be cremated, and we stepped in and we stopped that, and we buried them like in the Muslim.
Why was that? Because they didn't know they were Muslim, or
what happened was that person didn't have any family here, so they went to like a non-Muslim funeral home, and they were there for like a year because nobody claimed the body. And because of that, we had to like step in and stop that. But alhamdulillah, we did it. and managed to get in touch with family and everything. So we do, mashallah, quite a lot on that.
No, mashallah. And I know there's so many people, helping out. Dr. Shamila,
Yeah.
I had her a few months back, and she's been running classes, especially dealing with COVID cases and the rituals around funeral and everything. So that's very important. And also, I don't know if you're part of this as well, but the janaza announcements that, sometimes my son, he gets texts that somebody has passed away, they don't have enough family, they need help.
Oh yeah, absolutely, we do that.
So he's quite involved with that. So quite often he would go attend the janaza and help with the funeral as well.
We have given announcements like that, where we've come across people who don't have family, and we have sometimes done that as well. And then mashallah, we had like a massive turnout. I remember one funeral we did that, and like about 1,500 people turned up. Like the whole graveyard was packed.
I think that's the one that my son Zubair, he was talking about. Yes, but it just shows that, mashallah, even with our differences and conflicts and everything, when the time comes, the Muslim community can really bond together.
And we need to do more of that.
Of course.
What I've come to now is I'm at a point, like even with my charity work and stuff, where there are too many organizations. So organizations that are working on similar projects need to come together and work together.
Absolutely.
I'll give you one example of what happened like a few weeks back. So the DEC, which is the Disasters Emergency Committee, they got 15 charities together to do a joint appeal. In one day they raised £55 million in one day.
Amazing.
That's 15 charities coming together.
Yes.
So if we do the same thing, so inshallah, I'm working on that as well. That, to bring people together, to bring organizations together.
That's true, because sometimes I do think that even sponsoring an orphan, mashallah, is so rewardable and it's amazing, but where do you donate? Because there's so many charities doing the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
At the same place as well. This is when it gets confusing.
So this is my issue with this, that I've seen this for a long time. So inshallah, I'm in a position now where I can put like changes, and I can put forward proposals together that let's work together, let's do this. A couple of charities take this country, everybody helps them. Like we'll help in marketing and stuff like that. But this is a big project, inshallah. But I think like a center like this, this is the beacon now. Inshallah. Inshallah. And I've spoken to like people here who are like involved here, and they're ready to do that. Like take the next step.
Have you spoken to me? No, I'm joking.
I'm speaking to you right now. Right.
So, and another thing that I wanted to ask about the charity sector, I mean, there has been some controversy around this, is like how much actually goes to the charity, to the people who need it, because I know that admin, it takes out maybe sometimes quite a big chunk of it.
So this is an issue that's like raging on social media at the moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get scholars together, like muftis and people that are like known in the community who are, and issue a fatwa explaining the whole zakat, sadaqah and lillah. There's three things that and then there's fidya, and there's but these are the main ones. Now, just for example, in zakat, there are 8 categories. There are 8 categories, and people need to learn this now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start educating people on this. Now, one of the categories is, the person that distributes the zakat.
That's true.
To give them something as well,
that's true.
How do you expect them to do it? They're taking their time to do it, and now we're doing it professionally. Like we have admin and all this kind of thing as well, right? So there's 2 ways of doing this. There's educating the people, and then when a person donates, then if they and we can do this, if everybody gave a little bit towards admin costs, then we won't have to do anything.
But this happens on what is it, the platform now? I've forgotten. One of these, like
Just Giving. Or Good Launch Good.
Launch Good.
We use Launch Good, mashallah, because it's like a Muslim.
It is.
So it's a good one,
And they add a bit that if you want to add like 10% or something.
100%.
that's one thing. The second thing is with the gift aid.
Yeah.
So what I've heard is quite a few charities, they use the gift aid towards the admin costs.
Yeah, but that makes sense then, because what's happened is, you know, the 100% donation policy.
Yes.
That for me was like a marketing.
Yes.
It was a marketing
because
tactic.
how
right?
can they actually do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because remember, you've got people on the ground. How do you get there? Who's going to pay for the flights and all that kind of thing? So when I first came across this, because I was aware of the categories.
Yes.
And I've studied Islamic knowledge as well. So that's one way of doing it. That, you know, you do the 100% donation, and we we do that. A lot of charities do that as well.
Yes.
But it can't happen all the time. Yeah, because number one, we have the right to do that because it's part of the categories in the first place. Now, what the other issue is, it's the amount that is being taken towards admin,
Yes.
and marketing and stuff.
Yes.
Now, we live in a social media climate. Without marketing, nobody's going to hear about you.
Yeah.
Right?
True,
You know,
true.
before, like, there were 4 TV channels. Right now there's like thousands. Now it's all internet. This was 20 years ago. This didn't exist, right? So we've seen that side as well, where, you know, people used to go out, and people still do this, where they'll go to the masjids and, you know, do mosque collections. That's still very popular.
Yes, even here,
Yeah.
they still do it.
It's very but in order to tackle this problem, then we need to start giving towards these charities, because what they're doing is they're flying people out there.
Yes.
They're actually going there. You can't do this job part-time. There's like millions and millions of refugees. There are 33 million refugees in the world, basically, that I've like come across. There's probably more, right? And now you've got the Ukraine crisis.
Yes.
So you've got the Iraqis, you've got the Syrians, you've got the Yemenis. This ain't a part-time job. That's why we come into it as a full-time job. This is a full-time.
I think the thing is that charities just need to be a bit more transparent.
Yeah.
Like even when people are donating, to just explain that, okay, that we have to cover these costs
But
as well.
people need to be educated as well. Say if you order Just Eat,
Yeah.
you pay a delivery fee and you pay a service charge.
Yes, I did this
Right.
morning. I did this morning from Worldwide.
Right? So how can you expect, when we're delivering, we're actually doing the community a
Yes.
service by delivering your zakat, your sadaqah lillah to those that actually need it. Like in this country, you know, people get benefits and people get along, right? And even, you know, the homeless, they have like food,
Yes.
like there's access to food. You're talking about places, like I'll give you one example. I did a mosque collection campaign last year, and my campaign was on Yemen. Right, there was a blockade where no food and nothing was
Yes,
allowed in. There was a blockade, and you know what the people were doing? There was this sort of tree, and they were taking the tree, they were scraping off some like green stuff, and they were eating that. It was bitter and all sorts. And we actually have an office in Yemen, Human Relief Foundation. We have an office in Yemen. We open an office there, so we're able to like deliver aid. You know, we have contact with the government there. So these people, they were eating the paste. It's not even food,
Subhanallah.
right?
It's, you know what, we can't imagine. But the other thing is, I think, you know, as a whole, as a society as a whole, we've become sort of desensitized
100%.
because we see this all the time. Of people starving here, people starving there, conflict here, conflict there, and we've become so used to it.
So for that, we have a solution. We do deployments.
Yeah.
We will take you to Lebanon, Iraq. If Yemen is safe, then even Yemen. But at the moment, we're doing Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq. So we will take you on a deployment where you collect like £5,000, and then you go and deliver that £5,000 worth of aid yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you can get to see the reality on the ground. That it's very bad. Like just in Lebanon at the moment, it's like minus something degrees. The snow is that high. These guys are living in tents, and you know they have to pay rent for their tents.
No.
Yeah, because the land that they're using, it belongs to somebody. So we are doing our best, but we need your help. Basically, we can't do this on our own.
Yeah. Sorry, just to remind listeners that Adhan for Asr will be coming in 2 minutes. So we'll be taking a short break then. It's amazing the work you're doing, and of course, all the charities, without doubt, every charity is amazing, the work they're doing, and all the people involved in it. Can I now ask you? Okay, we will carry on after the Azan.
Break, yeah, let's do that. Absolutely.
After the break.
Absolutely.
It's only 1 minute to break. And so...
Put an sheet on for them if you want.
Oh, but it's just 1 minute. So just quickly, I will be talking about MacFest afterwards. Yeah. But for listeners who don't know, what is MacFest?
MacFest is a Muslim Arts and Culture Festival. Mm-hmm. We started in 2018.
Is it Muslim arts? I thought it was Manchester. Oh,
Muslim.
Manchester.
We are Muslim.
Okay,
yeah, Muslim Arts and Culture Festival. This is celebrating our 1400-year-old heritage.
Yes, so important.
And our culture and our arts in different countries. So that's a huge subject.
Yes. Is it on right now?
It's on right now as well, yes.
Because I think we were passing through city centre the other day, and outside the main library there was a big poster. We've put our poster there outside the library. We're actually doing that online at the moment. It's online. It's online? Yes. It's not in the library itself?
No. This year, because we had to plan it, we didn't know whether there were going to be restrictions or not.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to go in for Adhan break now. Assalamu alaikum. I think Brother Amr is always, if you want to get involved with volunteering.
I think I was trying to recruit you there, wasn't I?
Listen, you say to my husband saying, you're already doing too many things.
There's never enough, no, you have to give time as well. Yeah, absolutely. Right, yeah, you just caught me in the middle of my pitch there. It's okay, so where were we?
So we're talking about MacFest, which is a Muslim Arts and Culture Festival, and it's an annual festival. Yeah. And is it just in Manchester or is it national?
It's national and international.
Really?
Yes, we've gone.
So I'd never heard of that before. I thought it was only in Manchester.
So what we did the first time we ever did it in 2018, we did it in the Marquee at the British Muslim Heritage Centre.
I was here.
We used the building as well. Yes. So we had 50 events in all the rooms, throughout the day. So altogether we did 50 events in 10 days.
No, I remember that very clearly, because we came for the events as well, and there was some publishing event. There was a documentary that was screened, and then I remember there was someone talking about the Ottoman Empire, and another one there was a women's forum, and they were talking about Muslim women, I think. And there was hello, can you hear? Can you hear?
This.
Oh, I haven't put it on. This is me. This is very bad. I forgot. I think we have some interference there.
There's some interference, I think, but it's okay. We'll carry on talking, and then.
Yes, that's fine. So, tell me more about what's happening this year.
So this year we've got 75 events. And 75. Because what happened over the period, so we started in 2018, we did 50 events in 10 days.
Yes.
Then we did 60 events in 18 days the next year, in 2019.
Yes.
Or 2020, I think it was. And then the pandemic kicked in.
That was in 2020.
Yeah, so in 2020 we decided what to do. Should we go online? And we decided to stay online, because mashallah, Auntie Kasra, who's the founder of MacFest, she just put everything together, and we had the team ready there. So that year I was kind of redundant, because I'm an events person on the ground.
Yes.
I'm not a techie person. So I was a guest then. So I did a MacFest poem. I joined the I did a bit of poetry on that. So this year we've got around, I think, 70 events again.
MashaAllah. And are they all online?
There were 2 events that were live.
Yes.
So we had an event at the Lowry Theatre on Sunday.
Oh, the Sunday just gone?
The Sunday just gone. And the Sunday prior to that, we were at the Whitworth Gallery.
Oh, really?
So...
Unfortunately, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, this was kind of because we weren't sure about restrictions. That was the issue. So, marketing and stuff like that.
Planned,
it was already planned. Mainly that was going to be online first. So what's happened is MacFest has actually produced the Muslim Women's Arts Festival. So that's a whole separate festival. Yes. So that's what we're in at the moment. So we launched that last week at the Whitworth Gallery.
Okay.
And we took over the whole of the gallery. Normally we'd like take one room, but this time we took like the whole of the gallery.
What was the attendance like?
The attendance was amazing. The room was full. The whole gallery was full because we had like 3 spaces. So the purpose of this is called Muslim Arts and Culture Festival. The purpose of it is to highlight to people our heritage,
Yes.
our culture, and also it's not only taking the culture to the non-Muslims, it's also about bringing the Muslims together. So you've got the Pakistanis, the Bengalis, and we celebrate everybody's culture.
Yes, that's
So
very
Afghans, Arabs, Iraqis, Syrians, everybody's culture is celebrated, and it's a way and the food as well. The food is amazing.
nice. Yes.
So we get to have like different foods as well.
Yes. So how long will it carry on? Will we carry on throughout Ramadan?
This will carry on till September.
Okay.
So there's so many events. There's like events in Huddersfield, Rochdale, Oldham, Bolton.
And how do listeners find out about what's going on?
So if they go on to if you Google MacFest, you'll see it on YouTube. You can watch all the events live on YouTube. We have if you go onto their website as well, we have Zoom events. But every event that we do now, we put it onto YouTube, so everyone's able to watch events from the previous years as well.
That's very good.
So we have a MacFest YouTube channel. You can go onto the website as well, which is www.macfest.org.uk. And we're always looking for volunteers.
Oh yeah, because I can imagine this is massive. All these different events you have, and definitely. So anybody out there who wants to volunteer their time, we already spoke about the Heritage Centre, but of course also MacFest as well.
And we're also giving artists an opportunity here as well. So if you are an artist, or you have an artistic vision, it could be drawing, it could be models, it could be anything, please get in touch with MacFest, because
unfortunately that's not me. Can't even draw a straight line.
This is going to be an opportunity. We're also promoting. One of the things that this gave me a license to do was, in the first year, I'll tell you what I did in the first year. So when I spoke to Auntie Kasra, I said, look, this is my background. I'm an events person, I'm a networker, I have contacts here, there, everywhere. So I think we need to get you on TV. So I went to one event, and in that one event I found Islam Channel, I found another person to sponsor, and we had Costco as well to sponsor. So I managed to get 3, and Islam Channel was the big one,
of course,
because they came and they filmed our first festival, they came and filmed our second festival as well. We've also done interviews on Islam Channel as well. So we're trying to get out there now. We have the product, all we need to do is market the product. So if you're good at marketing, wherever you're good at, and you want an opportunity to do something, this is the perfect platform.
Yes. No, I remember now that time in 2018 there were some artist works on display. Excuse me. And there's I remember some beautiful paintings as well, and there was some I know this sister, I can't remember her name, I think she's Russian or something, and she does artwork as well.
She's Ukrainian,
and
she's been part of our festival. So what we've got is we've got a few artists.
Her name Maria,
I think so, something
very
check
lovely.
her out she'll be on the MacFest thing.
Very lovely sister.
So there's another artist as well called Ashvia. Now she designs our poster, our booklet, the brochure. Her works of arts on display as well. So we've got a few artists that are been supporting us, and we're supporting them as well.
So if any artists out there, they want to get involved, it probably would be for next year now.
It'll be for next year. And even then we can promote it on Instagram and that kind of thing as well. So also with my charity work as well, I'm going to start probably auctioning these works of charity off.
That's a good idea, yes.
Because that way it's helping everybody. It's helping the refugees that need help. It's helping the artists. And art is something that is, we need to appreciate it. Because one of the things that we found is, that, you know, the Muslim people, they don't go to museums, they don't go to galleries that much, you know, like
Yes, yes.
and what we did when we first opened with MacFest, it was giving like the comments we told people to write comments,
Yeah.
and it was like, this is the first time that we've been to a museum, we've never been to an art gallery before.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. So even then, it's not something that is normal for us, because we tend to think of it, oh, that's got nothing to do with us. But the Whitworth Gallery has Islamic
It has.
you know, artifacts. The Manchester Museum has the same thing as well.
Yes.
So this is something that we need to appreciate, because, you know, we're living in this country, we've got dual or triple identities.
True.
So it's always good to like go back to your roots as well. That, you know, learn where do we come from, and this will give us confidence in, like, you know, in our work and our life, basically.
Yeah. What is it they say? You don't know where you're heading if you don't know where you've been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something like that.
The past is very important, and the past has brought us to this point.
Yes.
Because we've got something that we've held on to for like 1400 years.
Yes.
And that's the religion of Islam.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of like non-Muslims, they're really surprised when they learn, like, you know, the father of chemistry was an Arab.
Yeah.
You know, things like this. So
this is what we're highlighting. Like, one of our events was called 1001 Inventions by Dr. Salim.
Yes, I know that, but that was one of your events.
Well, he joined our...
Yes, I went there.
Yeah.
Exhibition was some time ago.
Was it in the Science Museum?
Science Museum in London, yes.
Oh, in Manchester we did it.
Okay, I was in London.
Oh,
that
you
time.
went to the London. So his exhibition,
yes,
we invited him to be part of MacFest.
Oh, okay.
Because it's about promoting, you know, people that are doing good works as well. This is one of my core, like,
Yes.
that I like to promote people that are doing something good as well, because they need the help as well. And if they're doing something good, we as a community need to appreciate that.
Of course.
And this is how we're going to move forward, because this is how we did it in the past. Like, if you look at all the societies, you know, there were artists and there were calligraphers and there were like people, astronomers. They got their work out there and people helped them. The community like elevated them, basically. That
I think a lot of people forget these kind of things. I mean, especially at the time of the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. We had poets.
Yeah.
And non-Muslim poets, you know, obviously pagan times, but also Muslims as well. And how important that was to help spread the word, spread the message of Islam.
See, we have some language. Language is a very powerful medium.
Yes.
We use it to communicate, and so if we can use that to promote goodness, because MacFest actually came out of something bad. There's a story behind it. So in 2017, as you know, what happened at the arena, Manchester Arena.
Yes.
So Auntie Kasra, she was watching this, and she goes, "Oh no, not again! You know, this is another thing that they're gonna hit us with, the Muslim community." So she said, "I'm gonna do something about it," and she did.
Mashallah, amazing lady.
Seriously, amazing.
Hopefully, I can get her on my show
Hopefully,
sometime.
I will speak to her.
No, I remember in 2018 she was there as well, and I actually brought her book, but I couldn't get her to sign it because she was busy, mashallah.
Give it to me, I'll get it signed for you.
Yes, but yes, it's an amazing book, and she writes in English as well as in Urdu as well.
Her books have been published in different languages, from Indonesia to like all over the world.
Amazing.
And for her to like give up, she's like basically put her career to the side to do this voluntary project.
Because especially, I mean, if you say that this covers quite a few months, the planning involved,
it takes a long time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, I'll give you an example of the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, she spent 18 months planning it by herself. And then she brought a team in to help her, about five months.
Yes.
So I joined about 3 months before prior, but because I had like the events background, it was like easy for me to do. But saying that, the place that I first saw her leaflet was the Muslim Heritage Centre in the reception. So I picked it up, and that's how I joined. So coming here to the Heritage Centre, volunteering, because inshallah I'm going to be getting involved in the volunteering side as well, and there's lots to do. There's so much to do, and it's going to be fun as well. At the
Yes.
same time, you know, you're going to be enjoying yourself as well.
Yeah,
So
and
inshallah-
definitely any listeners out there who want to volunteer at the Heritage Centre, especially during Ramadan, there's a lot going on and there's so much rewards, that please check out the Heritage Centre website, and you'll see the link there, inshallah.
Inshallah, you'll see posters and things like that as well. And
Yes.
if you're good at social media marketing, I'm looking for somebody in that field. And what's happened, like, I'll give you an example of, like, you know, the jobs that I've done. So a lot of that experience has come from the voluntary work I've done, because it's
Yes.
going into my CV at the end of it, because I've done that and I've gained the experience. So this is also a very good way of gaining experience, even while you're studying,
Yes, of course.
because you know, you're there at, like, mashallah, we've got one, like, very dedicated volunteer called Maryam. She's 20 years old. She started volunteering about a couple of years ago,
Oh, it's still very young.
and she's got a very responsible role now. She's like organizing things, and, like, I just met her at our last event, and I was, like, really happy. And this is what we need to do as well. You know, if we see somebody doing something good, we need to elevate them. We need to give them confidence. We need to,
Absolutely.
like, say good things. Anybody that's doing anything like that in the community, we need to, like, help them and support them. So we'll be pushing very hard on this, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. No, amazing all the work you're doing and continuing to do. And just to remind listeners, if you want to be volunteer at the Heritage Centre, you know, check out the website. And also, you have a fundraising page as well. So,
Yes, so if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at amir dot sorry, no, it's amir at hrf.co.uk. So that's amir at hrf.co.uk.
and of course, you can answer any questions about the Muslim Burial Fund or
Absolutely.
MacFest or charities in general.
Whatever you want to get involved in, like, I do have, like, links to, like, most of the organizations here, including non-Muslim organizations as well, the mainstream. I've got links to the mainstream
So
as
you're
well.
like the president of
I'm
charities.
just
here.
like everything, right? But mashallah, I've gained all of this over 7 years. I've put a lot of hard work into it,
Mashallah.
and at the same time, I've been, like, you know, people have not supported me. They've been, like, saying, "What are you doing? What's all this volunteering about?" But there was a plan behind it. I've done this for a reason, because I saw there was a need in the community.
No, your idea, I think, is
Yeah.
really good. That, you know, charities should work together, should combine their talents and resources.
Even you know, institutions, Muslim institutions. So what we're looking to do, inshallah, is bringing them together as well to work with each other, in Manchester especially.
So what do you mean by institutions?
Like, say we've got the Heritage Centre,
Oh, right,
we've
okay.
got the masjids.
Yes.
Everyone's doing their own little bit. So if we come together on a platform, like, especially when we're being attacked as well, we have a united voice. We have a united front, that we are
Well,
united.
this is what
Yeah.
we need. and,
Inshallah, we can do it.
yeah.
I'm a believer in we can do it.
And before you go,
Yeah,
I have
okay.
to ask you about what's happening on Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday?
Yes.
Right. So on Thursday at the British Muslim Heritage Centre, right, you need to sign up for this. Are you a fan of Ertugrul?
I am. Well, I've seen a couple of episodes,
Right.
but my family, they're
So
definitely fans.
Ertugrul is in this country,
What?
and the person that promoted and brought him here was upstairs in the boardroom. So just before I came, I had a chat with him as well. So if you're available on Thursday, check out the Muslim Heritage Centre page.
What's going to happen there?
We've got, like, some of the stars of the show coming.
Oh,
So there's going to be,
wow.
like, a fundraising dinner and that kind of thing. There's going to be, like, an event. There's an event basically with
Very
the stars
nice.
of the hit show Ertugrul.
Lovely. And what time is it on?
I think it's on about 7:30, but I
And
think
you have to register.
you
for
have to
it?
register on it, yeah.
Okay, and this is on the Heritage Centre.
The Heritage
website.
Centre. So if you go onto the
Lovely.
Heritage, then all the details will be there. Or if you go onto My Lahore, the marquee, like, all the details
Yes.
will be on there, inshallah.
Brilliant, brilliant. I love it in a, you know, especially coming up to Ramadan, all these charity events. And
Absolutely.
It's really good.
We haven't done any charity events for, like, 2 years nearly.
Yes.
Everyone's ready to go.
Yes.
So if you come across a charity event, inshallah, take part.
Yeah, support.
Like, I'm looking for volunteers. I've got an event coming up. It's called Walk for Water.
Okay.
So we're going to be, like, walking around Plattfields Park. 7 times. We're doing like a tawaf.
When is that?
That's on the 24th of April in Ramadan.
In Ramadan.
Yeah.
Carrying buckets of
carrying
water.
buckets of water.
That's quite hard.
And if you want to take it further, you can wear flip-flops. So this is emulating the people in Ghana
Yes.
who have to walk 5 kilometers to go and
Yes.
get some water there and back. So we're like showing our support, and we're fasting on top of that as well. So if you want to get involved with that, get in touch with the HRF and we will get you onto that, inshallah.
Inshallah. Brother Amir, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Very entertaining
Thank you.
and informative, and I hope to see you back again sometimes.
Inshallah, I will be.
And
I'll bring some more people with me next
Please do,
time.
the bread and butter.
Absolutely, that's next. Right.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
So,
Assalamu alaikum. And listeners, it is almost time for the news at 3. So inshallah, I will be back next Tuesday, same time, 2 o'clock. And I'll see you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.